Right, so I figured it would be a good time now that title update 4 is out and we aren't getting any other major title updates apart from what's it called? Arc Tempered Arc Veld. I thought it'd be a good time to do a tier list. So this is my tier list, so it's going to be a bit biased to some monsters, but I think I've played enough of this game to have experienced every monster. I've used majority of the weapons, and it does change a lot of the monsters and my perspectives on them. So this will be interesting to see where they go. I've never actually done a tier list of the monsters before, so I don't even really know what I'd rank them. So this is kind of for my own finding and to see where I'd actually put them. I've tried to put them in the order that I think you fight them in, but we'll see how it goes. I've saved all the update monsters till the end. So let's just crack on. So we've got Chupacabra. I think this is a pretty solid introduction to Wild, so I think B tier is fair. There's not too much else to say about him. I do like that he has that tongue attack that he does and you can hit it. That is really cool. But again, with these, the problem is with a lot of these introduction monsters, it's kind of hard to put them into the higher tiers because that's normally where you find like the big boys like Gore or whoever. But yeah, it's a really solid introductory fight. I can't really say anything else about it, to be honest. I think it's definitely done introduction monsters better than previous titles. However, you do still slap him around a little bit, but I think for that tutorial aspect, he is pretty solid. Sort of eating my own words here, to be honest, but I think Quematrice is sick. Honestly, for a Brute Wyvern as well, it's so different. I love the fact how he does that flame thing with his fire and it like burns the grass. That is sick. He's got some of the best weapons in the game, to be honest. I know his gun lance is really good. His armor just looks sick. Like, I'm a big fan of the whole knight sort of aesthetic, especially when it's kind of like Rathian and Rathlos armor. It's got bits of the monster on it, so that's cool. So I think, yeah, nothing else to say there. Don't know if I already just mentioned this, I kind of forgot what I just said, but I like how the grass burns when he does that tail. I think I already mentioned that, to be fair. Right, so next we have Lala Barina, the first Temesaren you fight in this game. It's actually the weakest Temesaren as well that we've had. Raknakadaki's probably the strongest, Nersilla's probably mid, and then this one is the easiest. Now, its lair, there are some good things I'll say about it. I think it belongs there. So starting with the good, its lair is really cool where you fight it. The introduction to it is creepy. It's, you know, great theme that it's going for. Love the whole ballerina thing. The paralysis is cool where it does that like spinning thing almost like a ballerina, and the paralysis is all spluing from the petals or whatever. The armor and weapons are clean and they are slick, especially the longsword. That is really dope. However, I thought it was going to be a lot harder. You do bash it round, I'd probably say even more than Chupacabra, unfortunately. The design is too good though to put it any lower than A tier, I feel. Part of me even wants to put it in S tier because I really do love the monster. I'm tempted even to put Quematrice down, to be fair. Yeah, I think I got a bit too ahead of myself with Quematrice. I think I like it more than Lala Barina though, I think it deserves that. But yeah, if Lala Barina was a little bit harder, she definitely would be in S tier for me, for sure. Right. Poo Monkey. Right, he's getting an S tier. No, he's not. I like the joke of the whole pooing thing, it's funny. But I think it does kind of become a little bit stale at some points. I know my friends are going to kill me for this, because they love it. It is cool, the whole mushroom thing that it does. I do like that. I don't know. Where would I put it? I don't think it's better than Chupacabra. I think Chupacabra is kind of like the hold point of this tier list. Kongolal is cool, but yeah. I mean, I already fought him in previous entries, and I think they've definitely done him a lot better, but I don't think there's a lot that changes. I think B's fair. Right, so Balahara. Now, a lot of people don't like this monster from what I've seen, but for me, I would even put it there. Maybe even above Crematrice, to be honest. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's because I am a sucker for the Leviathan type of like skeleton and the actual, obviously, classification of the monster. But I just love the whole like sandworm vibe it's got going. I think with the new desert map, with how you've got all the dunes going on, I think it really does like fit it quite well. Its turf war with Doshigama's dope. The weapons and armor look cool. I think it's really cool. I do really love Balahara, and I'm probably going to get a bit of slack for that. Speaking of Doshigama, I am tempted to put it in S. It's the first wall you come up against in Wilds, I'd say. It's like the first sort of like Ajanath of Wilds. Like, you know, Ajanath was the big wall of Worlds, and then obviously Doshigama's kind of the big wall of Wilds. I'm trying to think. I think it's there. I think it's definitely there. It definitely beats all the other monsters that I've put in before. Its fight is great. The clash is cool. It kind of teaches you the wound system a bit more. I feel like it's really fun to fight this monster. Kind of has something that Rathian has, where you can counter it. It's just really satisfying to fight, and it feels bulky enough to, like, you know, still hit you around a little bit, which makes, you know, the offset attacks and the power clashes and the perfect guards and stuff just so much more satisfying. Its armor's really cool. Its weapons are a bit... I'm not a huge fan of them, but top of A tier I think is where that belongs. I've been looking forward to this one because I freaking hate that monster. The design is dope. The armor's pretty cool, it's growing on me, but the fight itself is so goddamn annoying. I cannot stand it. Every time my boys want to fight this monster, there's something in me that just irks. I hate it. I can't stand fighting it. It just barely flops everywhere. Its hitbox for its moves is annoying. And to be honest, for an apex monster of the Scarlet Forest, there's a lot of monsters that are coming up in this tier list where I just don't buy the fact that it will beat them. But yeah, I mean, the weapons are alright, but it doesn't belong any higher than that for me. I just can't stand fighting this monster, especially the Arc-Tempered version. It's a lot easier to fight with Gunlance, I found out recently, and I did enjoy it a little bit more, but yeah, the Veil thing's annoying as well, and no, it's not going any higher than that. Right, so Rompopolo, I think is how you pronounce it. Where am I putting you? Where am I putting you? See, again, the problem with Rompopolo is it's a really aesthetically cool looking monster. Like the design, and when you actually first see it in the cutscene, it's like something out of Terminator. It's sick, but the fight itself is just too easy. And I know these aren't high ranking monsters, but for Monster Hunter, for someone that's been around since like Gen 2, Gen 3, there's a lot of early monsters that will still kick your ass, like Baroth is a perfect example in Monster Hunter 3. But I do really, really like the design they went for this. It's creepy, it's weird, I like how you like deflate it with its back when you hit it a lot. The armor and weapons are quite cool as well, like the whole Doctor vibe they're going for, but yeah, I think if it was a little harder, it would be higher. Right. This is just our first S tier monster, and I don't think there's really much I need to say about this. Everyone loves this monster, and me included. It's great. It's probably the best designed new monster for Wilds, I'd say. You know, the theme is great. The sound design on this monster is perfect, and if you actually watch how they made it, it's incredible. The design of it just looks cool. I think with Raid Dow especially, it feels the most Monster Hunter monster, the first one you kind of come up against, whereas some of these other new monsters do feel like Wilds monsters, but Raid Dow still has that classic like flying wyvern feel. The armor is amazing as well. You know, even not even like look-wise. Obviously, you got the latent power skill. You can get to like level 7. That's just great. It's used in so many builds. Even if you're like a fashion hunter like me, everything I'd say apart from the headgear, I pretty much have in almost all my sets. It's just such a cool monster. It's a great fight as well. Again, it has that thing that Doshigama has where you can like power clash it a lot, which I really do appreciate. And it still kind of holds its own a little bit. And I love the turf wars it has with like Raid Down, all that beef that was going on in the campaign. It's really cool. Nursilla, I don't think it's better than Lala Barina, but I think I prefer Chakra to that, and I only put it above Kongalala because it is actually like surprisingly can be quite tricky to deal with sometimes. You know, it's got the sleep, the poison, and I feel like I think I did fight it in 4, but I haven't played enough of 4 to like fully fight it, but it did feel a lot harder. I know some people may disagree with that, but it's also got like the lore aspect where, you know, Punch Gypsarus actually has a turf war with him, so that's just sick. But I think, yeah, Nusilla's definitely not on the tier of fucking Oofduna, man. But yeah, Nusilla's cool. I like Nusilla. Right, first E tier. Hate this monster, can't stand it. It is the shittest monster in Wilds, and I don't want to hear otherwise. Its design really isn't all that great, to be honest. And it's the only thing you really see in the Ice Shards Cliffs sort of area, like aside from Blongonga. I do like how it goes around in packs, but I feel like when Wilds first came out, apart from Doshigama, which I did forget to mention about Doshigama, the pack thing's sick, but there wasn't enough of that at the start, and I feel like Harabami kind of took a bit of damage from that. I feel like it would have definitely been a lot better, well, first impression on me anyway, if it did have that pack system to start with. Its armor and weapons are quite cool, I'll give it that, but it's just, there's no fight in it, and I just don't like the monster. So that's the first D tier. Jarakan is S tier. Such a sick fight. Honestly, how it starts, like it's an actual kind of like boxing match, like a wrestling match or whatever, where it like dings its tail on the back of its like crest sort of thing, and it's like an actual boxing bow. It's just so cool. I don't even know if he roars, to be honest. I think that's actually how he starts his fight. But yeah, just such a fun fight, and he does that spinning thing where like he goes in the air and drops down. Amount of times that's caught me is insane. I love the theme of his weapons and armor as well. It's got that sort of like, I don't really know, is it Aztec kind of like look to it? Really cool fight. You know, the design of it's awesome. I don't know if I prefer it to Rajang, but it's definitely like up there with him. Really sick. This is probably one of my favourite monsters, if not my favourite new monster for Wilds, is Nuudra. However, I don't know if I would put it above Raid Down. I'm just a big fan of like octopuses in general. I love how you can like sever all the tentacles as well. It's just such a cool looking monster, and you've got all the when you kill it, the little baby Nuudras that float around. With Gunlance, it's really fun, and even with Longsword as well, which I've done previously. But the arc-tempered version of this monster is actually insane. It just elevates the monster so much more, and I kind of wish it was normally like that. And I think a lot of things that these monsters kind of have that kind of brings them down a little bit is the difficulty factor. I think if a lot of them were more difficult, they would be higher, which, to be honest, with some of these monsters, they've got 9-star forms now, which has changed my opinion on some of them, which you'll find out soon. But yeah, Nuudra, just try not to forget anything about saying, because I love this monster. I don't want to forget saying anything that's good. His weapons do look pretty cool. His armor's sick. But yeah, I love it. I think it's probably one of the best monsters that we've got. Sorry, I've got a cold. My nose is just going off on one. Guardian Doshigama. I'd probably have to put that there. I don't think it's better than Oofduna. I do like Oofduna a little bit, but not enough to be higher. But Guardian Doshigama, I don't know where I stand with the Guardian system. I feel like it has grown on me a little bit, but it's still something I'm a little bit like on. And it's just Doshigama with milk. Like, I just feel like it's almost a wasted slot. I think if they went with this kind of look and design but made it ice and put it in the Ice Shard Cliffs rather than this, it would have been so much cooler. But I guess it... Sorry, my nose. I guess it's not a D tier because the lore aspect of the Guardian system I like, but I think aside from like the actual story and campaign, there's not really much to it afterwards. I'd never really go and like get excited to fight Guardian Doshigama as well as the other Guardians. I fucking hate the next one. But yeah, there's not much replayability in them, and I think that's what sort of draws me back from putting them higher. Guardian Rathalos. Now, I said I hate this monster. It's annoying as hell to fight, and it does kick your ass. I just kind of wish that Rathalos was like fought like Guardian Rathalos, because I feel like Rathalos isn't really that threatening anymore. But I don't know what I think of the Guardian system. I just feel like because we've got this Rathian, and Rathalos, it's just a little bit tiresome, and the Guardian scale thing is such a grind. But it does kick your ass compared to a lot of these other monsters, but it does get annoying sometimes. But yeah, Rathalos and milk. Guardian Ebony Adogaron. Now, I love Ebony Adogaron. I can't really decide if I like this one or the normal one more, but again, I just wish we got Adogaron. But I do like it better than these. But it's just the Guardian thing for me. I'm not a huge fan. But yeah, it's Adogaron. You just... Unfortunately, in Wilds, and I can't remember if he was like this in Worlds, but I do feel like you slap him round so much, and he just goes on the floor and he doesn't get up. He's probably the monster that like topples over the most out of all of them. But his arm's clean. I can't really remember what his weapon. He's got those jewel blades that are really cool, but yeah, I think that's fair. Again, I feel like Guardian Folger Ajanath is the same than what I've said about Guardian Adogaron. I do really like it. I love Ajanath. I love the Folger one. Has that awesome move where it like sort of goes up and then it like bashes down and then it like shoots across the screen with the lightning. It's really, really freaking cool. And seeing it all light up in the mouth. Oh, do you know what? Maybe it does go a little bit higher. Yeah, I think it does. I think it goes... Yeah, I think it goes there, actually. Thinking about it now, I really do like this monster. Trying to ignore the Guardian fact about it. But its Turf War with Guardian Doshigama is my favourite in the game. I think that's such a cool turf where they're like biting each other and like grabs it and throws it. Yeah, I think that's fair. Zhu Wu, or Zhe Wu, I don't know how you pronounce it. This was a monster originally I didn't actually like, but it has grown on me a lot. I want to reorganize this a little bit. I think that... No, actually, no. Doshigama's good. Zhu Wu can slap you up. It feels so cool to fight it with a longsword, and with like a quick weapon. But yeah, it grew on me a lot. I like how it's almost like its own apex of the Runes of Wyveria. It eats a lot of the other monsters, and their turf wars are dope that it has with them. Like, I don't know if it does it with the others, but Adogaron, it like actually physically tries to eat it. It's really creepy. The only thing that I don't like about it is the colour of it. I feel like fighting it straight after New Udra, another black octopus kind of looking thing, kind of hurts it a little bit. I feel like coming straight from that fight, which, you know, is a perfect fight, and then going down to Zoo, it does hurt it a little bit, but, you know, it's creepy. You know, it does that thing where, like, opens up and you see its mouth, and it's horrifying, but It's grown on me a lot, and I do really like Zulu, so yeah, A tier for that one. Jin Dahad. Now, I've got a lot to say about this one. I do think it belongs there. The only thing that kind of stops me putting it for S tier is it doesn't really feel like an Apex. Now, what I mean by that, I feel like Raidao, Nuudra, and even Oofduna kind of have like an effect on their environment, and you actually see them, you know, roaming around their areas. And they turf with a lot of the other creatures, like Raidao will turf with Seregios, Nuudra turfs with Ajarakan, and I think it turfs with something else. But Jin Dahad doesn't have any turf wars because of its, you know, skeleton, unfortunately, and it's too big to fit in the Ice Shard Cliffs. It doesn't look too much out of like the ordinary of a Monster Hunter monster, but for me, when I first saw it, it looked more like an Elden Ring monster. I don't know, it's just, its fights very scripted. I wish we had something that like was more in. If Jin Dahad was a little bit sized down and actually roamed around its map, then I probably would put it in S tier, but I don't know why that bothers me so much. Again, the design is a little too... it doesn't look like a Leviathan, it looks more like an Elder Dragon, and that's where it sort of has problems for me. I would have preferred something in the Ice Shard Cliffs that actually, you know, feels like a realistic monster there, but Jin Dahad doesn't even roam the area. He obviously like pops up on the side sometimes, but I don't know, it hurts the Ice Shard Cliffs map a little bit, the fact there's no Apex there. But what I do like about it, its armor and weapons are probably, if not the best weapon, like look appealing wise in the game. They look incredible, especially the armor. You look like freaking Sauron or some shit. The weapons are so cool, they're so unique, and I love the theme of this fight. It sounds like orchestral, is it orchestral bells, where like they're in a church, and you can even see on his back, like here they kind of look like that, so I really appreciate how they went for that. The arc-tempered armor is so fucking cool as well, but it just holds it back from being an S tier because of those gripes that I mentioned, but still a solid monster, still love it, it's just, yeah. Yain Cuckoo, I'm gonna put you... maybe there. I kind of do want to put it higher. I love Chatacabra a lot, and I don't know if Yankee is better, but I love how it's really adopted this theme of like being the annoying monster. I love how when you first fight it, it's in like a huge pack, and like you even get those quests as well, which are really cool. The amount of times I had to get like a giant beak, and like, I never found this quest, it just wasn't there, and then it popped up as soon as I like gathered them all. It was so annoying, but it's a funny, goofy monster. It kind of represents what Monster Hunter can be like sometimes, so I do appreciate that. So yeah, I think B tier is fair. Gypsros. Again, it's kind of the same sort of thing with Yain Cuckoo. It does have that like goofy nature even more than that monster Yain Cuckoo, but its armor just looks so ugly, and but it has grown on me, and I do like its little quirks that it has, like the flashing and playing dead. Obviously they do get a little bit stale, and I do feel like you break the head way too easily. It's like its whole thing is the flashing thing, but it barely gets to use it. I don't think it goes any higher than, to be honest, oh, come on, that's funny. I'll keep it there. And I almost want to put you down there. Blongonga, kind of the same thing with like Zulu and all the kind of the, you know, a lot of the previous monsters that I've mentioned, has grown on me a lot. It's a lot harder with the 9-star, which I, you know, when I first fought this monster at the start of Wilds, it was so easy to beat, and it really like, you know, hurt the monster a lot, because I remember back in like Freedom 2, super challenging monster. It's kind of like the first wall you grow up against, but The design's cool. I love the pack with its little blongers that it has. The armor looks pretty dope. I'll give it that. Where am I putting it though? I think it belongs there. I like it more than a Doggeron. The previous event quest we got, we have to fight 3 of them. If you haven't tried it, do it, because it is so fun. It makes the monster so much better. But, yeah, I can't put it any higher than that. Gravios. Somehow this is a flying wyvern, but whatever. I know my friend's probably going to kill me for where I'm going to put this, but I quite like the design it has. This sort of just giant rocky dragon. I like how the armor's like bulky and the gun lance is huge and its weapons are all like rocky and stuff, but it is a little bit boring to fight. It's better than Basarios. It can be annoying to fight as well, but there are some things I do like about it, especially if you're using like a shield or like even greatsword, blocking against it with the beam, like shooting at you like Godzilla or some shit. Really is cool. Has a lot of little quirks like the poison, the sleep, but it's just ding. You're just dinging off the monster quite a lot, and it's a little boring, but I think I like it more than others. Now, Rathian. Not much to say about Rathian. Do I like it better than these? I think I like it better than... Yeah. I think I'll put Rathian there. There's not much to say. It's the same monster we've had for ages. Not much has changed. It does have that move now where it's like that big explosion of flame that it does, and I don't know if that was in Rise or World, but it seems new. It's a satisfying fight. But yeah, same Rathian we've had kind of majority of the time. Rathalos, however, on the other hand, has changed a lot, and I feel like that's what makes Rathalos great. I really do like Rathalos. It's one of my favourite, I can't lie. It just represents how much Monster Hunter's changed for me. I don't know if it applies, I guess that's what they're going for, but to see the progress of how Rathalos fights have like evolved over each like entry is just super cool. It feels a lot more threatening now. I feel like it's in the air a lot more, which it should be, you know, King of the Skies. I love its armour. It's probably my favourite armour set in Monster Hunter in general. It just looks dope. Yeah, can't put it any lower than that. It's the flagship of the franchise. It's just such a cool monster. Right, Arkveld, Guardian Arkveld. I don't know if there's much different about fighting these two. You only get to fight Guardian Arkveld once, so I'm going to probably put them together. I'd probably put them, like, there. You know what, I don't really remember much about that. But yeah, Guardian Arkveld. I'm just going to say Arkveld. Okay, we'll put them together. Just the same as Raydal, it just feels such a cool monster to fight. I do feel like Raydal kind of stole the show from Arkveld a little bit, but yeah, it almost feels like a Kratos of Monster Hunter, like how it's going after all the apexes, and it just beefs with Raydal so much. I think it has like 2 fights in the story, or maybe even 3. Love the fight. You know, you get all these explosions going on of the dragon element. It's just such a sick monster. Probably my favourite flagship that we've had in a very long time. I wasn't a huge fan of Magnamalo and Rise. What's his name? Malzeno, the vampire dragon, was quite cool, but Arkveld is just on a different level, and his armour is just honestly probably the best set, look-wise, in this game. You look like a god, and I feel like that's what they were going for, like the God of War type shit, but yeah, it's just such a cool monster. Zoshia, the final boss of the base game. I think you belong there. We need a high rank. We have a high rank. We need a tempered version or an arc tempered version of this monster, man. It still feels hard, which I do appreciate, but it's getting to that point now where it's. I love the monster, that's why I want it, but I just want that extra like oomph from it. But love the theme of it. You know how it's almost like an angelic kind of looking monster, and then you break off the hardened milk. And you got this demon like black dragon kind of thing going on. It's probably, well, I mean, it is, you know, the closest thing we've ever gotten to, if you know about the equal dragon weapon, which is quite, you know, quite nerdy Monster Hunter territory, but it really is the closest thing we've ever gotten to that. Its lore and the implications of the story is amazing. So yeah, S tier monster, great final boss, probably one of the best we've got in a long time, if not one of the best. It's just so cool. And the future, I'm quite excited to see if they do anything with Zoshir, kind of like a Safi Jiva type thing. Would be holding out for that. Gore Magala. Now, where am I putting you? I think it's only fair to put you there. Just the edgelord, sick monster. His fight does get on my nerves sometimes, but it's also kind of what I appreciate about the monster, how it just does kick your ass. The 9-star one, oh my god, I still haven't even killed it yet, just because I haven't tried to be honest, because it's just a pain in the ass and it is hard. But I love its implication in the story. It's almost like its own title update. What they did with it, how they implemented the frenzy stuff and bring back some of like the Gen 4 characters as well. Fabius, I think his name is. But yeah, just a sick monster. You've got the frenzy system, which is dope as hell. Its armor, again, kind of with the Raid Owl thing, a lot of pieces you can use if you're like a fashion hunter. But even like the anti-virus skill, I know is one of the metas, I think. I'm not sure what now because of some of the other monsters that we've got coming up. Sick looking weapons. It's just, yeah, perfect monster. Not much to say about that. Mitsune or Mitsune, don't know how you pronounce it, it belongs there. It's just, again, a fan favourite. The theme I love so much, that like Japanese kind of like theme it's got. It's just such a cool monster, man. I love the theme of it, I love how it looks. It's like a fennec fox kind of, not a fennec fox, like a nine-tails kind of thing it's got going on. The weapons are clean as hell. Skill-wise, not the best, but yeah, weapons are awesome. I love the monster. I can't get enough of it, and I want to see more of it as well. I love, one thing I forgot to mention, I do love how they added the, is it Soul Seer Mitsune, the Deviant, with the fire and like the eye that's sort of on fire. That is just sick, and I'm so happy they added that, and I'm seeing a lot more of that they're doing with Monster Hunter in recent years. Just sick. Love it. Seregios. Right, now, this Steve, I think what people call it, or Pinecone. I love Steve. It's probably one of my top 5 favourite monsters, but I don't think it's... Oh, I don't know. I want to put it above Arkvald and Raid Owl. I really do, because I love him, but I just feel like Arkvald and Raid Owl are just like the perfect like fights. Everything about them's great. Steve is a pain in the ass to fight if you've ever fought him. He just kicks you around, but I love the whole bird of prey thing. I'm a big fan of birds and stuff like that. I love eagles, and that's the vibe it gives me. Also, it's like a snake vibe going on. I think it's the only monster in this game that does bleed in him. Maybe a Doggeron does, but I love it. I think Seregios is great. Really hard. It's the first, for me, I feel like that was the first challenge I actually got out of Monster Hunter, where I had to lock in. So I appreciate that a lot. The Tempered does, it bosses you about, and I think we have a 9-star as well. Yeah, we do. So yeah, Seregios belongs there for me. Right. Lagiacrus, Lagiacrus, whatever you want to call it. This is my favourite monster of all time. I started off with Monster Hunter 3, so I'd be betraying myself if I put it any lower than that. But I generally do think it had the glow up that it deserved. You know, before Wild, we haven't seen Legiacris, I think it was in 4 or Generations, I can't remember, but properly fighting it would be for Monster to try, because I know in 4 it wasn't great, but I feel like they just really knocked out the park here. I feel like there was a lot of pressure on bringing this monster back. I know it tried to get added in World, but it didn't work because of the skeleton or whatever, but in Wilds it feels amazing to fight. It's probably my favourite fight in this game, that's why it's there in S tier. You know, I love the water thing they did with it as well. I wish we did get underwater combat, but I feel like for what it is, still going underwater, I really do appreciate they did that. It's just so fun to fight, I love it, and it just feels great. What else was I going to say about you? If you haven't fought Legiacris, which you probably have, but its final move where it does like that torpedo thing underwater is so cool. It's just not much to say about it. I love it. It's my favourite monster. Can't put it any lower, and if I could put it higher, I probably would. But love the colour of it, the design's awesome. Theme is dope as well. I love how they kind of integrated the free ultimate theme with it. Really cool. I love its Turf Wars of Rathalos, and when you first see it in the cutscene where it gets like smacked by its tail and just stands there and takes it like a champ. It's great. And with the Turf War of Rathalos, I love how like one of them can win. Really cool. So I'm happy with what they did with Legiacris, and I don't think they could have done it any better. Omega! Oh my god. Now, probably the most controversial monster. It is the most controversial monster in this game. See, now when it came out, I would have put it there. But unfortunately, I do have to give Omega a little bit of credit. I think it belongs there. I love all these other monsters that are before it much better. But what I appreciate about Omega so much, even though it isn't a Monster Hunter monster, it is just a clanker from Final Fantasy. It's the only monster really in the game where like you have to use everything at your disposal. And I don't think we've had that in such a long time. I just wish they kind of gave that to a Monster Hunter monster. But, oh my god, the pain I went through fighting this monster is insane. It's just such a hard fight, but it is great. You know, you just have to use everything you've got, and you really have to lock in to fight it. And there's not many experiences in this game, unfortunately, that feel like that. A lot more now than what we did have, but Omega's just completely different. The 9-star will kick your ass. I'm still trying to farm it for rubies and jewels or whatever they're called, and the 2.0 ticket. It's a bit of a shame that we didn't get a weapon for each weapon type. I know a lot of people hate that. For me, I'm fine because I main Sword and Shield and Greatsword, so I ate good with that. Its armour looks cool, kind of got the Batman thing going on. But it's just a shame that, for me, I feel like what holds it back, and I feel the same with Jin, I feel the same with some of these other monsters. Gog Mazdios I feel the same with. I'm getting a little sick and tired of this DPS check thing, kind of what they copied from Elatrion in World. It feels very scripted. Jindahad scripted as well, and even Gog Mazdios feels quite scripted. And unfortunately, that does hold it back, but for the difficulty that it brings to Wilds, I think is what a lot of people needed to get back into the game. The event it had going around, all the Final Fantasy stuff, was really cool. I love how it like fights Jindahad, and then like it notices you as like the new threat when you kind of like knock it out. I think you put someone on its back or stab it in the back, and you kind of save Jindahad almost, and it notices you as the new threat. Absolutely love that. Anything to do with like lore or Monster Hunter, I die for, so I think it's fair to put Omega there. And what I'm noticing is a lot of these monsters in Wilds are just great. Wilds has the best roster in any Monster Hunter game, I think, period. You know, all the new monsters feel different. They're all amazing designs. Obviously, some of them, Oofduna, I'm joking, You know, I think the only thing that it does halt this game and a lot of the roster is the difficulty. But with Master Rank, I feel like we're going to get that a lot more, I hope so, and I can't wait for that to come out. But a lot of these monsters are solid. It's the best roster we've had in ages. It just needed that bit of difficulty with some of them to bring a lot of them up to par. But yeah, I'm super happy with the monster that we got, and it's been great, and I love Wilds. I can't stop playing it. But yeah. But last but not least, the most recent entry and final monster, apart from Arc-Tempered Arcveld, is Gogmazios. Now, what I do appreciate a lot about Gogmazios is that it feels like Omega without the BS almost. You know, it has that max DPS check, but it's definitely a lot more manageable than Omega. I'd probably say Gogmazios is there. Honestly, for me, I think it's probably the best fight in Wilds. The only thing that stops it going above Lagiacrus is the fact that obviously Lagiacrus is my favourite monster. It's just so cinematic fight. You know, I didn't even expect them bringing this back. Obviously, we had the leaks, but to get a final monster like an endgame boss this early in like a title update is insane. Especially on like base game Wilds, not even say for like the final update of Master Rank is such a treat. The only thing I don't like about it, it's grown on me a little bit more. The GOG Artian system's a little bit grindy, and I know Monster Hunter is quite a grindy game and it's what you make of it that counts, but I just don't like the whole gambling side of it. I wish you just got what you got, or you get to choose. I think gambling for certain things is a bit annoying. However, it is a little bit better how you can just like reset the skills and that sort of stuff. But the fight itself is just so, it feels like a final boss. I can't stress how much I love like trying to see it climb up and like after the second phase. When it's like trying to fly, it almost reminds me of like the dragon of Harry Potter when it's like climbing out the bank. And obviously with a monster like this, obviously it would struggle to fly. It's huge, its wings look quite nimble but still enough to give it flight. You've got the frickin' is it the Elder Breaker on its back? That is probably the most satisfying moment out of this game, is shooting that thing. I love the whole lore with that, how the Wilk goes into the weapon, the different states that it has, like burning off the oil and then using Dragon Element to fight it. It's just a perfect fight, and I feel like they really did end on a banger there. So yeah, I feel Gogmazios belongs there. Its weapons look sick. I do appreciate how they kind of integrated it into the Artian system. I just think maybe that needed a little bit more cooking to get it right, but we'll see how it goes, because I've got a lot to do in this game anyway, so it might keep me around. I feel like that's what they want to do with it, is just keep people around until we get Master Rank. As the game's obviously, you know, stopped its updates now, got a few more coming this year, but as the last major update, I think they hit the nail on the head there, and I feel like, yeah, like I've said before, this roster is great, and I'm really happy with a lot of the monsters. I'm very excited to see what we have coming in Master Rank, but let me know if you disagree with some of my choices. I'd love to see what you guys think of some of these monsters, but from what I've seen, from what other people think, I think this is fair. I think maybe some of these are a bit different from other people's opinions, but I've seen everyone put Ray Dow and, you know, Arcveld in S tier, and, you know, everyone hates Arabami, unfortunately, but it just sucks. I can't stand this monster. It's the worst monster in the game, but apart from that, we've got a lot of good ones, and that's what I appreciate. But let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you can. It really helps me out. But yeah, see you in the next one, boys and girls.